Hi everybody. Yeah, this is me, turning freedom into value, and my name is Shelly, and I'm here to share my part of the Wix studio. And as you can see from my title, I'm not a designer, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about design. After Andrew talked to you a little bit about how rules and guidelines can help you create freedom, I want to talk about a different aspect of these two words, design and freedom, and to show how when we use them together in the studio, we create some really cool stuff. But before I show you these projects, I want to talk a little bit more about this word freedom, especially what it means in Wix, a little bit about what it means to me, and how we even got to this place where freedom is part of what I do. So freedom. This is Ariel from my team demonstrating freedom. And I know it could be quite a big word. I mean, when I say design, then everybody in the room here pretty much knows what I'm talking about. But freedom is a different story, because it's a word that's a bit bombastic. It can be used as a cliche. I know that everybody has his own meaning to it. But actually in Wix, and I mean generally in the company, not just in the studio, Wix, freedom means exactly what it means. It's about being able to do whatever you want to do. As long as you'll end up using that freedom in a way that brings back value to the company or to your product or to your team, you can do pretty much anything you have in mind, I promise you. And that specific quality about Wix was something that to me personally was super important before I came to work there, and I would like to tell you why. So I know the first thing that I said about myself is that I'm not a designer, and I'm really not, but I did study design. I graduated about 8 years ago, and I even practiced it for a little bit. For a year about after graduation, I did some freelance work, and I worked in small design studios. But pretty quickly, I got the feeling that something was missing. And this is how my story with the world of fashion and internet began. And like many good stories that involve the internet, it also includes some embarrassing photos from my past, like this one. So yeah, this is me, and never in my life have I believed I would watch it on such a big screen. So, like I said, the year was 2008, and the entire world started to discover blogging, and so did I. And I started to write a blog about fashion. It was mainly about clothes and what I wore, and for that purpose, I took really bad pictures of myself, and I documented it. And it was really amazing because it started out as a really small adventure, just our own little project. But pretty quickly, it turned into quite a huge thing. And during the 3 years that it lasted that we did that, it actually ended up being sold to a bigger website, and we merged into another company, and we worked with them for a while. And actually, up until today, it's one of Israel's most successful fashion websites. But what was amazing about that time is that during those 3 years, we had to do practically everything ourselves. Write and edit and style and photo shoot, design of course, and doing finance and publishing. And what was amazing about this is that we had so much freedom to decide on so many things. And that sense of freedom was something that really stuck with me. And I knew that no matter what I do next, I have to find a place that will allow me to sustain this freedom. And like I told you in the beginning, I found Wix, which is a place that really enables freedom. And lucky for me, the team I work in the studio, freedom is not just there for us to use, it's actually a must. So I work in a team called Design Development. And basically what we do in the company and in the studio is we develop design in Wix. I know it sounds a little odd maybe. So if people would ask me to describe it theoretically, I would say that we try to empower the designers in the studio and to push the design forward in everything that Wix does. But what it means practically, which is what I'm here to share with you, is that we actually use these two very high-level words, design and freedom, and we use them in a way that actually brings back value to the company, to the designers, or to the studio. And that's the three projects I will share with you now, so let's start. The first one is a project that we do, and it's done thanks to the fact that we are free to be individuals. It's called the Wix Studio Salon. So, you know by now that we are more than 100 designers working together, which means that keeping a personal touch between everybody is getting to be quite a challenging task. There are only so many people you can fit around a very small lunch table. But since the studio was small not so long ago, we know how important it is to maintain that feeling, that sense of getting to know each other personally. And we didn't want to lose that. So we wanted to do something about it, and here is what we did. Remember this set from before? This is our Week Studio Salon, which is basically our own talk show. So you know how you have like your favorite talk show, Oprah Winfrey or Jimmy Kimmel interviewing your favorite celebrity, and you think you know them, but then they ask them these new questions and you get to find new things about them? This is what we wanted to recreate. To have two designers that will sit on the sofa, one will interview the other, and we will learn new things about them. And the only rule about these things is that it doesn't have to be about work, it's about us, the designers. And this is what it looks like when we do it. Sorry for the bad iPhone 5 picture. So here you can see Moan, who's an account manager at the studio, and she's interviewing Yamit, who's an art director. And what's funny about this example is I got to know why it is that I keep hearing Yamit singing in French all the time in the studio, which she does all the time. Apparently she's taking French lessons, and the way they learn the language is through songs. So this is why she keeps singing. And what's nice about it is it's just the freedom that we have in this specific project. It's just the freedom to take just half an hour after lunch, only once a month. But the value we get back from it is both us having the chance to learn to get to know each other. Also, it ends up bringing value to our work. Yamit, for example, did the art direction for a French commercial market at the end, so it was pretty helpful that she knew French and we knew that. And moving on to the second project, it's one that was done thanks to the fact we have freedom to be designers. It's called the Week's Fanzine. And before I explain what freedom and value have to do with it, I want to show you what it is. So as you can see, it's a magazine. This is one of two issues that we ended printing out. It was an internal magazine that was handed just to the Week's employees in the company. And the content of the magazine actually came to us from the management. It was the 10 internal values of Wix. What we did with it, the magazine, these are the two issues, was something that we, the studio, came up with. So it seems like a nice project, right? We got a brief from the management, no less. We did a magazine we wanted, which is what we wanted to do. And I can tell you the entire company loved it. The employees wanted more copies, they hang it on their wall. So it's a nice story with a happy ending, right? But not really. Because actually, in order for us to actually go ahead with doing this magazine, we had to really fight our way to it. And we had to fight for the right to be designers and to have our way. Because when we got the brief from the management, what they wanted was, of course, for us to make it pretty, but to make it quick. And making quick with a magazine doesn't really sit well, so it took us some time. But as you can see, it worked out and we did get to have our way and to do it. But what was the most amazing thing about it, and the greatest value of all from it, is that the management themselves actually was the one who saw the big value. And the thing was that even the CEO, our CEO himself, ended up saying to us that if he had known from the beginning that this is what we were going to do with the magazine, then he probably wouldn't have said yes to us doing it. But after he got the copy and he flipped through the pages and he read everything and saw what we did, then he was really proud of it and he loves it. So that was the greatest value of all, to have him seeing that the freedom that he gave us wasn't for nothing, and you could see the value of designer thinking and creative thinking. And the third and final project is one that we do actually each year, and it's thanks to the fact that we are free to be not just designers within Wix, within the company, but actually to be part of a larger community, our local design community. It's called the Wix Fest, and what it is basically is a one-night design festival. We have design talks and workshops and the designer community mingling together. And what's amazing about this, I think, and what is unique about this project is that you can work in a company and be involved in creating conferences or talks or meetups, but it would usually mean that you would have to serve your company's agenda and to do basically what you're told. But in the Wix Fest case, it's actually the opposite way around. Each year we come up with our own crazy idea for what we want to do, and we get the resources to do it. So here, for example, is an image from our last event. And for this event, our crazy idea was, hey, why don't we bring an international guest speaker for the first time? And it's what we did. We actually got Tobias van Snyder, which I'm guessing most of you know, and we brought him for a full week in Tel Aviv, and the entire design community could come and listen to his talk for free, which was pretty amazing. In this event, we also had this little press print workshop that everybody could do. I remember the first time I attended a Wix Fest, which was many years ago, and it was a much smaller event at the time. I wasn't a Wix employee yet, I just came there as a guest, and it was held like in the company's garage. Even then I remember I heard for the first time talk about designing for mobile, and back then there was a silk print workshop. And I remember thinking to myself, what a great company and a great studio it is that will do such a thing, that will host this event for free just for designers to enjoy. And I think that up until this day, this is what makes this event so valuable. For the designers coming, then of course they get to enjoy this event, but also for the company and for the studio. They get to have each year people like me back then thinking what a great place this is, and maybe even ending up working there like myself. So I want to finish by coming back to this word, freedom, and to say that I think it doesn't matter if you're a freelancer or if you're working for a small company or a huge studio, then sometimes freedom can be right under your nose, and it's all about the way you choose to use it or ask for it or just take it. And I want to say thank you for sharing our inside look of the Wix studio, and on behalf of Khadid and Andra and myself and the entire Wix studio, thank you for joining us. And you're welcome to visit us at our booth